Fletcher, we were talking about Nick Underhill's latest article earlier in hour one. We touched on it in hour two, where he ranked the Saints roster in a status of elite, great, and good. He left Brees out of the elite status. You agree with that?
I don't know if I agree with that, to be honest with you. And I love Nick Underhill. He comes on our television station, and I love talking to him. And I think he's a great, subscription. If you're going to pay for a subscription, his site is a great one to subscribe to. But I don't know if I would leave him off. I mean, I'm about to have Chris Sims on here today. He's going to come on, and Chris Sims ranked Drew Brees 16 on the NFL quarterback poll that he did. How is Brees 16? I get if he's not in the top five. I get Mahomes. I get Lamar Jackson. I get Russell Wilson. I could even get Deshaun Watson and then Rodgers. But how is Brees not 6, 7, 8, or 9? How is he 16? And I love Nick, but how is he still not elite?
Well,
I mean, he was the player of the month in December. I mean, he threw 15 touchdowns and no interception.
Well, real quick, as far as Nick is concerned, he was just more saying that, he does believe that Russell Wilson and Pat Mahomes are in a tier all their own, and then you get to, the Brees, Jackson, Watson grouping, and that just maybe per the purposes of that conversation, that he ended up putting Brees in there, but with a bit of a caveat. He didn't think he was much of a clear-cut choice as the other guys like Ryan Ramczyk, Mike Thomas, Will Lutz, and these other players who are, quite clearly in the top tier at their position group.
Well, let me just say this, okay? So, we all like cliches, or people like cliches and relate to cliches. I would say that is a little bit more of familiarity breeds contempt. That he's been so great for so long, for almost 15 years. But I think saying that I'm a victim of nostalgia would also be wrong. Look, I love Ryan Ramczyk. I think Ryan Ramczyk is truly elite and is going to be one of the best offensive linemen in the league. And I know you're a former offensive lineman and understand that better than anybody. I understand Marshon Lattimore, when engaged, he can be a true lockdown guy. Michael Thomas is amazing. I just don't know if I would move Brees. And again, look, it's a personal opinion. We could argue it to a blue in the face, and there's no right, there's no wrong. It's a personal opinion. My opinion is, I still think Brees belongs. The Saints were second in the league in points per game last year. I mean, there aren't many stats that you look at and you say, where was the drop-off? Where was the inconsistency? What made him go from elite when they went 13-3 in 2018 to not elite when they went 13-3 in 2019? He got hurt and missed 5 games. I mean, he came back with a vengeance and was fantastic. So my opinion is Brees is still elite, and anybody who thinks he's not, the stats just don't back it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm in agreement. It is a bit, the semantic-based conversation, but the only ones I think are clearly better are Mahomes and Wilson. And then after that, I mean, I don't know that I would put Watson or Lamar Jackson over Drew Brees just yet. We're talking to Fletcher Mackel at Fletcher WDSU. Fletcher, when I look at the Saints defense, I feel like there's a few players that can have kind of an undue impact on its success, right? If Sheldon Rankins came back to where he was, if Marcus Davenport can, not get injured and fulfill the potential that he's flashed, then maybe the main guy would be Janoris Jenkins. If he can be a more aggressive man-on-cover corner that really frees up a lot for Dennis Allen in that defense, where do you view those points of leverage? And if the same, how do you expect those guys to perform this season?
Yeah, no, look, I would echo. To me, the one concern that I have, and there aren't many concerns, because I would say that the Saints roster is as deep, if not deeper, than any team in the NFL. They're going to be one of those favorites in the NFC with San Francisco, who is really, really a good team as well. I think Green Bay could have a little bit of slippage, but who knows if Rodgers comes out with a vengeance after the way this offseason is unfolded, drafting a quarterback and all. Dallas, to me, is always going to be Dallas until they prove they're not Dallas and can actually win some playoff games and do something. But the concern I have about the Saints is depth at cornerback. Look, I referenced Marshon Lattimore. When he's engaged and focused, in his 3 years, he's been a 2-time Pro Bowler. He can lock down anybody. Janoris Jenkins came in last year and was really a revelation for this team. He came in focused, and he bumped Eli Apple out of a starting spot. They don't have a lot of depth behind those guys. So if you lose a guy like that, one of those guys, that's my biggest concern for this defense. I think that Sheldon Rankins coming off back-to-back Achilles injuries, before he suffered that first Achilles in 2018, he was having a Pro Bowl caliber season. He had 8.5 sacks in 2018. He was fantastic from the interior. So if he can come back, that's a huge plus. But I do think they have enough depth on that defensive line to withstand any type of injury or somebody like Sheldon Rankins not coming back. If Davenport can step up and be the guy, look, it wasn't until Cam Jordan's third year that he really became elite. His first year was 2011. The Saints were really good. He was a role player. 2012 was a wash. They were the worst defense in NFL history. That was the year Sean Payton was suspended. And then in 2013, that's when Junior Gillette and Cam Jordan broke out. And Cam Jordan since then has been fantastic. So hopefully Marcus Davenport in year 3 can be that guy. But I kind of agree with you on the defense. I think they're a good unit. I'm a big Dennis Allen fan as a coordinator. I think he deserves another chance to be a head coach of the NFL, and I hope he gets it. But if I did have a concern, it would be similar to 2009. In 2009, you had Jabari Greer and Tracy Porter, and you didn't have a lot of depth behind them. And they both got injured, and they were signing guys. I mean, they signed Mike McKenzie off the scrap heap to come in and play a couple of games. And look, he picked off Tom Brady in a game and was good. But depth at cornerback is probably the only concern I have for the Saints as they enter what we hope is the 2020 season.
Fletcher Mackel joining us here, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. He's from WDSU down in New Orleans, talking some New Orleans sports here. Last year, one of your coworkers or co-hosts was Roman Harper on your pre and post game coverage of New Orleans Saints, and you guys had a great crew. He's been picked up by the SEC Network. He was here with us on Off the Bench. He was great in that role in analyzing football. Can you give us an idea on how you think he'll transition from the pro to the college game?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked because I love Roman, and I know he loves coming on y'all's show. And so I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be great. He loves talking SEC football. I mean, he played at the University of Alabama, and so last year he was supposed to be in Green Bay because we all thought the Saints are going to beat Minnesota, and then they're going to have to go to Green Bay. And so Sharif Ishaq, my other colleague who you all know very well, and Roman were supposed to be in Green Bay, and Jim Moore and myself were supposed to be in New Orleans covering LSU, and then Sharif was going to try to get back for the national championship game. But when the Saints lost, we all stayed in New Orleans, and Roman really loved covering that LSU Clemson. He was here all week. He was at media day. And so I think he's going to transition just fine. The SEC is something that he paid very close attention to. So I think kind of going from talking pro football to college football is something that he's going to do very well. And I know he's been talking about getting an opportunity like this. And I know that's why he did your radio show. That's why he was with us at the TV station. So I'm very happy that he'll be joining SEC Nation, and I think he'll be great.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Harper, and congratulations to the Harper family for yesterday. They delivered a healthy baby boy into their family. So
nice.
Shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Roman Harper in Charlotte, North Carolina. Speaking of safeties, Pro Football Focus had Marcus Williams ranked the 38th best player in the league. And T-Bob made a good point about this. You know, Marcus Williams, he's got that O-line kind of syndrome where he's been a really good player, but you only remember the bad plays. I mean, 90% of the time he's been fantastic, but, you know, a couple of times you've seen in big moments him give up big plays, and that's what you remember. What do you make of Williams now? He seems like he has solidified that spot at safety and what he brings to the defense.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great analogy there. It's like an offensive lineman. You don't realize how great they are. You only see the holding penalty or you complain about them.
Yeah.
But when they're in sync and doing something great, it's the quarterback that gets, all the love. I think Marcus Williams is really good. I don't know if I'd call him great, but I think that he's another one like Davenport that could really explode this year. But he had a fantastic rookie season, but all anybody remembers is the Minnesota Miracle.
Yep.
Last year, he had another really solid season, but most people just remember the face mask on George Kittle against San Francisco that put San Francisco in position to win the game when the Saints, were going to win. So those two plays I think people pay attention to, but really, when you look at the games and what he's done and how he plays, and on the back end of that defense, how good he can be, again, I do think sometimes people – and look, those are two big plays. I mean, the Minnesota Miracle, cost the Saints a playoff game and a trip to Philly when they could have been red hot and maybe given Philly a real run in the NFC Championship game. And then against San Francisco, the Saints win that game. They're the number 1 seed again, and the road to the Super Bowl goes through the Dome. Instead, the Saints fall all the way to 3 and San Francisco's 1. So those are some bad plays that are going to stick with people for a really it's Bill Buckner-like. Bill Buckner was a really great player, but all anybody remembers is the gaffe when the ball went through his legs against the Mets. To me, Marcus Williams is really good, but unfortunately, those 2 big plays are gonna be part of his resume forever. But I do think he's a really good player.
Appreciate you, Fletch. Talk soon, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, Fletcher Mackel.